Okay, so I know this lighting sucks, but it is currently Wednesday, January 16th. Yesterday, I began my allergy test, and so I don't know if, yeah, I did explain this earlier, so I'm getting an allergy test to see if I'm allergic to the screws in my foot. So I want to show you guys what that looks like. So the allergy test is essentially they just taped a bunch of different metals to my back, and they're testing for, I think the number was like over 40 different metals plus the metals in the titanium that are already in my foot. And so you have to leave the patches with the tape and the metals on for 48 hours, and then at the end of the 48 hours you go back to the doctor and they take them off and they can examine the reactions right then and there. So we are 24 hours in. I got them put on yesterday morning, so tomorrow morning I'm going back to the doctor to get them taken off. And I don't know if I should be hoping for a negative or for a positive, because based off of what we learn tomorrow, and by we, I mean my coach and I and the doctors are making a decision whether or not to try and continue to do this college season and try to make it to the Big Ten championships in a month. Tomorrow's kind of a big day. We're kind of making a huge decision. And the hard part is I took medicine that blocks out like allergic reactions. A little over a week ago is when I stopped it, but I was on it to help with the pain in my foot because we didn't really know what was going on. And you're technically supposed to be off this medicine for over a month before you do an allergy test to get an accurate read. So tomorrow, if we get a positive result saying that I am allergic to the titanium that's in my foot, we will know for sure that I'm allergic and we'll go in and swap out the screws. But if we get a negative result, we have to wait a month to do the test over again to make sure it's actually a negative and not a false negative. And so I don't know, I feel like at this point I'm just hoping that it's a positive result tomorrow, positive in the sense that I am allergic to the titanium screws, just so we have an answer as to why I'm having the foot pain, and we know exactly what it is and we can go in and fix it and swap them out with screws that I'm not allergic to. But if it's negative, we're kind of in this waiting period again, and that would also suck because then I wouldn't be able to compete in the college season because the foot still hurts. We don't really know for certain what's going on with the foot, and we're not going to push it. We're not going to try to come back for a competition in a month that I don't have enough time to really train for. So the focus is the World Championship trials in May, but obviously I would love to compete at the Big Ten championships, NCAA zones, and the NCAA championships, as well as I've got a couple Grand Prix and World Series meets coming up too that I would like to be competing at. So a lot is kind of riding on the results I get tomorrow, and I really don't know how to be feeling going into it other than I just want an answer from it tomorrow, which is still kind of a long shot given that I haven't been off my medicine for a month. I've only been off of it for over a week now. So this process sucks. Man, I wish I could just like go back in time 16 weeks and be like, let's test my body for allergic reactions before we do the surgery so we can save about 11 weeks of just mess. It's January 17th, just a little update. It's the next day. I got the allergy test results, and the results were negative, which in theory is a good thing. I'm not allergic to the screws that are in my foot, which is great. But now the issue is we have no explanation as to why my foot's hurting. We have no explanation as to why there's so much swelling and inflammation in the joint capsule in my foot. And so ultimately we have no idea just what exactly the true solution to my foot pain is. This is frustrating because, you go into surgery thinking this is pretty straightforward. They're going to put screws in and you give it a lot of time, the bone's going to heal, and you're going to walk and dive again. That's not been the case for me. The case for me has been put the screws in, bone heals perfectly, but now there's a ton of swelling, and for 10 whole weeks I've been in pain. I haven't been able to walk properly. I haven't been able to walk without pain. I'm just now being able to stand without pain, but even still, it's in a specific way that I'm having to stand. So I guess if today was a positive result. We would have swapped the screws out, and in my mind, swapping the screws out would have been great because I wouldn't have been allergic to the new screws and the swelling would have gone down. But knowing now that I'm not allergic to the current screws in my foot, it's a process of just trial and error at this point, and just kind of praying and hoping that the swelling goes down and the pain goes away. So that being said, what's the next step? Tomorrow I'm driving to Carmel, Indiana to go visit with my doctor, and I talked to him on the phone today after we got the negative result because I had a lot of questions and I had no idea what we were going to do next. So I'm going to see my doctor, and essentially what we're going to be doing is there's inflammation in the joint capsule in my foot between my navicular bone and I think it's called my talus bone. I know it's the talar navicular joint capsule that has all the swelling, all the inflammation, and essentially it's just fluid in between these two bones. And now what the doctor's thinking is that if we remove the fluid between these two bones, he's going to be able to check this fluid for gout, pseudogout, or a different type of infection or allergic reaction. We know I don't have an infection and I don't have an allergic reaction, but they're going to test again anyway. We know I don't have gout just by looking at it and looking at the MRIs and CT scans and the x-rays. We know gout's not there, but they're going to test for it anyway. And pseudogout, I know nothing about. I Googled it today. I'm not going to pretend like I know what it is, other than there's some type of crystallization of calcium or something like that in between the bones. And that's, in my mind, looking like it could be a thing, and removing this fluid could help it, but again, I'm not sure. But what we're going to do is the doctor is going to stick a needle in between my bones and just kind of extract all that fluid, and they're going to run tests on that fluid. But what the doctor is thinking is that by removing this fluid, it could relieve me of my foot pain, because the pain I've been feeling has been right along where all this fluid is. It's been on the inside of my foot, it's been across the top of my foot and on the outside of my foot, but all along this joint capsule. And it could be pain that's being caused from pressure that this fluid is putting on the bones. And I don't know really what to think going in tomorrow. Obviously, it's probably going to hurt sticking a needle between my two bones and removing fluid. It's not going to be a fun experience, but if it's something that the doctor thinks could relieve a lot of the pain, I'm going to do it. And if they test this fluid and I'm still having pain 1 week later, even though the fluid's been extracted and it's starting to swell up again, what we're going to do is some type of injection that will go into this joint capsule and essentially block any swelling or inflammation from occurring for I don't know how long. I've heard these injections can block these types of swelling and inflammation for a long time, a short time. I don't know. In my mind, I think like I just am hoping that they remove the fluid and the pain goes away. And that's also what the doctor's hoping for. That's not necessarily what will happen for certain, but that's what I'm hopeful for at this point. And if it doesn't, we get the injection, and I know these injections are really good at getting rid of the pain. So by the end of next week, a week from tomorrow, so I don't know, is that January 25th, 26th, I should have that injection and then a couple days later be feeling good. I'm hopeful that removing this fluid just reduces the pressure and ultimately reduces the pain, and we can build strength, and that this injection helps prevent any more inflammation from coming in. But at this point, this is the only option. There's no infection, there's no allergic reaction, there's no explanation as to why I'm in so much pain. My only thing is maybe this swelling has just been swelling that never went away from the surgery, and so we need to go and take it out, and hopefully it doesn't come back. But in my mind, I'm just hoping and praying that removing the fluid goes well, and that the inflammation doesn't come back and the pain goes away. I'm really hoping I can compete in the Big Ten championships and at NCAA zones and hopefully at NCAAs. But for those last two to happen, I have to compete at the Big Ten championships and hit a certain score on 1 meter, 3 meter, or tower. And with very little training, that's going to be really hard. But, you know, I've been in this sport for a long time, and I've competed at a lot of events, and I've been in this situation before due to other injuries, not as severe as this one, but you know, like even last year, my first meet back was a meet in February, right before the Big Ten championships, and I got the score there, went to the Big Tens, and actually won a gold at the Big Tens. So I'm trying to just let this process ride itself out and trust my prior experience competing and my just kind of motor skills with diving to help me compete well. So yeah, today was just another day of, all right, let's wait another week and see where we're at. But tomorrow I'm getting fluid drained, and I'm just really hoping that takes the pain away, because I'm really ready to just be able to walk, you know? It's been a garbage process just because everything has kind of gone worst case scenario. And so I'm ready for something to be a best case scenario, or at least a step in the right direction. All right, until then, let's just see how this draining goes.